call the regular meeting of the Upshur County Commission to order. We'll begin with a moment of silent meditation and prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This time we'll have the reading of the minutes of the August 30th, 2012 meeting.
The County Commission of Upshur County, West Virginia held their regular meeting at the Courthouse Annex on Thursday, August 30, 2012 at 9 a.m. Donnie Tenney called the meeting to order. There were present Donnie Tenney, Commissioner, Creed Pletcher, Commissioner, J.C. Rafferty, Commissioner, William Parker, Administrator, and Jacqueline Dinklocker, Secretary. The meeting began with a moment of silent meditation and prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. All motions passed unanimously unless otherwise stated. After reading of the minutes on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Creed Pletcher, the Commission approved the regular meeting minutes of August 23, 2012 as submitted. Rose Henline, Chris Carroll, and representatives from Hall Neighbors House appeared before the Commission and provided a review of Recovery Month 2012 proclamation. The purpose of the proclamation is to promote community observation and participation in programs, activities, and meetings for the prevention of mental and/or substance use disorders. After discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Creed Pletcher, the Commission approved and authorized the Commission to sign the Recovery Month 2012 proclamation. Troy A. Brady, 3, candidate for the office of Upshur County Commissioner, appeared before the Commission and provided a review of an opinion concerning his eligibility for candidacy in regards to possible Hatch Act violations. Mr. Brady advised the Commission that the opinion by the U.S. Office of Special Counsel has been completed in the finding that no violation has occurred, and Mr. Brady is fully eligible to participate in the election and hold office if elected. William Parker advised that he will be posting/distributing materials to county employees concerning rules on political activity regarding the Hatch Act. William Parker reviewed the request from David Rexroad, executor of the estate of Dale Riggs, deceased, for a reduction in the bond from $2 million to $500,000. After discussion on motion by Creed Pletcher, seconded by J.C. Rafferty, the Commission approved the request pending confirmation that estate values did not exceed $500,000 on March 6, 2012, or effective date would be such date that assets were $500,000 or less. William Parker provided a review of the software maintenance contract with PTS Solutions for incident software shared with the Upshur County Sheriff and the Buchanan Police Department. After discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Creed Pletcher, the Commission approved and authorized the President to sign the annual maintenance contract in the amount of $700,000. $700. Sorry.
That's better.
Wow. After discussion on motion by Creed Pletcher, seconded by J.C. Rafferty, the Commission approved the change in employment status of Kimbra Wachob as full-time E911 Communication Center dispatcher to part-time dispatcher effective September 1, 2012. After discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Creed Pletcher, the Commission approved the employment of Joyce Ann Wall and Selena Jean Gooden as part-time E911 Communication Center dispatchers at the rate of $10 per hour, as recommended by Stephen Linger, E911 Communication Center Director. Effective date of employment for both is September 16, 2012. After discussion on motion by Creed Pletcher, seconded by J.C. Rafferty, the Commission approved and authorized the President to sign the letter of support for the Union Elementary School for the iGlobe Innovation Zone grant proposal. William Parker provided an update/status report on the establishment of Upshur County Appraisal Assessment Advisory Board. The Commission will follow up and review the tax assessment book for Union District. Tom Lynch, Main Street Arts Cooperative Representative, appeared before the Commission and provided an update/status report on upcoming events. The Main Street Arts Festival will be held on Saturday, September 22, 2012, from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. The annual event will feature displays and demonstrations of local dancers, musicians, artists, and performers. William Hamilton, West Virginia House of Delegates, Upshur County Representative, presented a West Virginia Governor's Community Participation Grant check in the amount of $5,000 to Mr. Lynch for the Main Street Arts Co-op for the promotion of the arts in the community. Upshur County residents Amy Summerfield and Lisa Shaw appeared before the Commission and advised the Commission of an upcoming event. Dr. Peter Coleman, Coleman Institute representative, will appear at the Buchanan Upshur High School on Wednesday, September 19, 2012 at 6 p.m. to speak about addiction treatment. The Commission reviewed the following for your information items. Number 1, notification of outreach event regarding services available for veterans. Number 2, agendas and/or notice of meetings as listed. Number 3, meeting minutes and/or financial reports as listed. Number 4, meetings as listed. Number 5, appointments needed or upcoming as listed. The Commission approved all invoices for payment. The Commission approved all vacation orders. The Commission approved the following settlements as listed. The Commission approved the following exonerations and/or refunds as listed. With no further business, on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Donnie Tenney, the Commission meeting adjourned at 11:30 a.m.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as read? Not, I ask for a motion to be approved as such.
So moved. I'll second it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Okay, at this time we have representatives from the Frank B. Bartlett, post number 7 of the American Legion, proclamations and observances.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm soloing it this morning, except Ron and Loretta are both members too. So, and you. Before, we appreciate you doing the proclamations for us, and before I read the one, because there's too many, I want to read a little announcement. The veterans of the American Legion Post 7 of Buchanan invites you to join us for open house on Friday, September 14th at the Legion Hall at 16 South Kanawha Street. Doors open at 10:30. Special program will begin at 11 a.m. Share this special day with us as we honor 2 of our members who have each served 50 continuous years with the American Legion, and that would be Connor St. Clair and Eugene Suter. Join us as we recognize and remember those patriotic events in our country's history. September 11th, Patriots Day. September 16th, American Legion's 93rd anniversary. And September 21st, POW MIA Day. All of these patriotic holidays are falling in the month of September, so we're combining our celebration and recognition of them on the 14th of September, and we hope you'll be able to join us. And our proclamation that the Commission has provided us for American Legion Day, and I'll read that if that's okay.
Okay.
Whereas the American Legion was chartered by Congress in 1919 on September 16th as a wartime veterans organization based on the 4 pillars of Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation, National Security, Americanism, and Children and Youth. And whereas over the years, the American Legion has become a preeminent community service organization which now numbers more than 2.5 million members, men and women, and over 14,000 American Legion posts worldwide, working a variety of programs that support the 4 pillars and the benefit of our nation's veterans, its service members, its families, the youth of America, and its citizens. Whereas the members of the American Legion are dedicated to upholding the ideals of freedom and democracy while working to make a difference in the lives of fellow Americans. And whereas the 2012 observance of the American Legion Day provides an opportunity to recognize Legionnaires in our community for their many contributions to our community. And now, therefore, we, the Upshur County Commission, do by proclaim 16 September 2012 as American Legion Day.
I'd ask for a motion we approve the proclamation as read.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay. And that would be for also, I should have said, the National POW MIA Recognition Day,
That includes,
and also a day to remember, which was September 11th.
that would include all of them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Could I,
You want to come up behind and get a picture?
yes, Loretta, would you, and Ron, could you come up front with me, please?
Our next agenda item is at 10:30 to review some property tax.
We're supposed to have representatives from the assessor's office. I think Ms. Phillips will be here, Ms. Wilfong, the county clerk, as well as representatives from the tax department, Ms. Adams,
Okay.
just to make sure everybody's fully aware of the issues.
Okay, and then at 11, we have Stephen Linger, review background information, part-time employees authorized to be in work on September 16th. And at 1:30, review property tax books for consideration, establish Upshur County Appraisal Assessment Advisory Board. So we'll move down to items for discussion and possible action. First is approved software maintenance agreement with ESRI Incorporated. Would you like to elaborate on that, Mr. Parker?
That contract is currently in place, and it's just a renewal of that contract for the addressing and mapping, as well as the assessor's office that utilizes that software.
Okay.
Is there an increase in
No.
contract price?
It is the same.
Is that a joint payment by us and the assessor?
Yes.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve continued maintenance agreement?
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next item is approve volunteer interns for Lewis Upshur Braxton Community Corrections Day Report Center, Jacob Foster, Nicholas Benjes, and Leah Adams.
These are all students from West Virginia Wesleyan College, and they fill out the volunteer application. The necessary paperwork has been recommended by Micah Harris.
Micah. Good.
Most likely are criminal justice or
I think most of them
sociology,
are, yes.
Majors.
Maybe they can help work on our regional jail assessment program. We'll supply the computers for them to use. Okay, do we have a motion to approve the interns?
I will do that.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Approve request from Central West Virginia Republican Women for usage of Courthouse Plaza on September 15th. That's for their Take Back Our Country on Saturday the 15th, beginning at 10 a.m. and ending at 1, the intersection Main and Locust, and to use the Courthouse Plaza. We'd like to ask permission during this time for candidates to rally on the street to hold their signs. Please be advised, if you permit us to do so, we will conduct ourselves in a respectful and orderly manner. Patricia L. Adams, Central West Virginia Republican Women. So do we have a motion to approve this request for the usage of the Courthouse Plaza?
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item, we have a request from Elkins Road Public Service District for appointment of Carrie Wagner to a term ending September 30th, 2018. And
That's the signature of all the appropriate individuals.
this is a request from the Public Service District
Correct.
with all the board members, office manager, systems operator, signing to concur with the request to reappoint Carrie Wagner to that position again. And So I would ask for a motion, we approve the request.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And we have a request from the Tannerton Public Service District for the appointment of Elmer Tenney to fill an unexpired term ending July 31, 2015. Due to the recent resignation of John Jenkins from the Tannerton Public Service District, the board members, John McGrew, Rex Reeder, are making the following requests for Mr. Jenkins' replacement. Tannerton PSD recently completed Phase 2 project, which constructed a sanitary sewer system in Norville Drive area, and Elmer Tenney is a sewage customer of that area. Mr. Tenney is one unrespected resident of the expanded area. He has full support of both Mr. Reeder and Mr. McGrew. Based on the above facts, Tannerton PSD is requesting the commission to appoint Mr. Tenney, the unexpired term John Jenkins, which is 7/31/09 to 7/31/15. Sincerely, Terry Gould, Manager. So there we have unanimous support and request for Mr. Elmer Tenney. So do we have a motion to honor that request?
So moved. He's an excellent gentleman and a very fine pick for the position.
Yep, very good job.
I'll second that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. And that concludes our business to take care of until our 10:30 appointment. We do have a list of our building permit report and agendas and notices of meetings. Looks like we have a significant number of building permit applications with a total of construction $1,405,000 in Upshur County. It's a growing county. It's a building county. So unless someone else, Will, do you have anything else that?
Just a few items to mention. We have scheduled a special meeting for tomorrow, if it's needed, to continue the review of the property tax books for Union District and/or other districts, based on our review this afternoon. So that meeting's been scheduled. Whether it will eventually, have to take place or not, that would be your gentleman's call, of course. We received some correspondence this week concerning the Upshur County Youth Camp. I'll just read it. I was up at the 4-H Youth Camp in Selbyville yesterday. The grounds and everything looked great. Talked with Doug Woody, and he was so welcoming and helpful. He was doing a great job. Former 4-H'er, and began going to camp when I was 10, about 50 years ago. Took an individual with her, this individual did, and also a 4-H'er. Her family did much for the 4-H, especially building the pool back in '69 or so. We need a newer top-line pool like the one was 40-plus years ago. Thanks for keeping the youth camp up, a good standard for youth today, who also have good memories as they move into adulthood. And said she also talked with a fellow Marshall grad who comes there with a family and friends, stay in the off seasons, loved the place too, and had good things to say. So had kudos for our Upshur County Youth Camp staff. We also had a letter as a follow-up. I think I shared one 2 or 3 weeks ago. This came with no signature or identifying features, let's say, but it was concerning some electrical work at the Middle Fork campground location and whether it was up to standards or not. So I have talked to the property owner and tried to follow up on that. And I'll probably ask Mr. Harris to make a visit out sometime next week to see how things look.
Does the power company have any impact or?
Unless they were, connecting services or anything along those lines, which I don't believe that is. I think they're replacing some lines, and the property owner advised that there's a contractor that is supervising the work. The fire marshal was on site however many, weeks or so ago, and was aware of the situation according to what the information he provided. So,
And then we had some kudos to lifeguard, I believe. didn't we?
Right.
Yes, we did.
So,
Chef
Seems-
Blake.
seems to be a day of compliments. It's always good to have those positive remarks.
Ms. Dinklocker and I are not fighting or anything like that. We're just trying a new arrangement today. So, you know, if anybody's wondering why the separation.
It's just,
Thought she had a dust cap back there.
okay, do you gentlemen have anything else? We've got about an hour to our next scheduled appointment, so I'm sure we have paperwork. We
Do have some paperwork to take care of.
Okay. Give us a countdown.
Start a new program, New Moon Rising.
Okay, we're back in session, and it is 10:30 a.m. We have agenda item review, property tax account 00008082, map and parcel 5J002800000000, located in Hinkleville area, Robert J. Rose.
Commissioner Tenney, the reason this is on the agenda, again, we dealt with this a year or so ago, I do believe, is Mr. Rose sent a letter through to Ms. Phillips and copied Sheriff Miller and the Upshur County Commission and Kenneth Heater, and also sent as I understand it, a letter to the state tax department on this matter. So I thought it would be wise to get everybody together and review the situation, and so everybody understands what's happening or what needs to happen or what has happened.
Okay. Well,
I think the problem is generated by the sheriff's office as usual.
would you like to step up to the podium and answer to that accusation, Ms. Sheila? Well, I guess here's the first statement.
I'll kick it off. I'll give you a thumbnail sketch.
Okay, go right ahead, Bert.
Mr. Rose is a taxpayer that owns, claims to have right and title to a piece of property at Hinkleville. However, that property in the county clerk's office is still, and by the assessor's records, still in the deceased owner's names. The owner of the property is Mrs. Heater. She's been dead a number of years.
Did she die intestate or with the will? Do you know? Or does that make a difference in this case?
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference, but I can't remember. She died with a will, didn't she? Because her oldest son was named as her administrator.
Okay.
Who we have talked with.
But that doesn't make any difference legally in terms of filing?
Now, dealing with this piece of property.
Right.
And our position is, and Sheila can give you the code sites, by code, it says that anyone with I won't quote it directly, but not verbatim, but generally has a vested interest in the property may pay the property tax. And therein lies the problem, because Mr. Rose has never filed with the county clerk a proper deed. Now, I understand he's attempted to, and Debbie can speak to that, but a proper deed's never been filed, and he has never claimed ownership through the assessor's office for this piece of property. So therefore, it shows up by the assessor's books. It's still belonging to Mrs. Heater as being the owner of the property, who is deceased, who her son is the administrator of her estate, receives that notice, and there lies the problem. Now, Sheila, do you want to clarify and delve into it?
Let me ask you a question. So for a number of years, the ticket has gone to the Heaters.
That's correct.
And has the taxes been paid?
They have been.
Who by whom?
I think Mr. Heaters paid them on occasion and went back to collect them off Mr. Rose. And then I think Mr. Rose has paid him a time or two.
Okay, because the question that he poses, my complaint that my property taxes after 25 years have been taken out of my name. Is that a true statement?
Never was in his name.
Okay, so that's not a true statement. Okay.
Am I correct? with Helen or Sheila, never was in his name.
It could have been maybe in care of to him at some time, but it's never been in
So
his.
did he buy the property off of Mr. Heater, or like on a land contract or something? Was that the way it come
I
about?
think he actually bought it off of Mrs. Hader, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
but he refuses to record the deed.
Why?
He doesn't want to record the deed. I cannot answer
If I
that.
remember right, the previous time, and Mr. Rigger was involved in our previous discussion, the deed did not have any consideration listed, if I remember right,
That was one
and
issue.
thus there was no property transfer, payment of property transfer tax or whatever those fees are. And, you know, whether a deed is or isn't valid, if it's not recorded, there may be some concerns, you know, possibly there. But, you know, it has to have certain parameters to be a valid deed.
I think you had issue with the 2 points on that deed that he tried to file,
And I
wasn't
can't
it?
remember what they were.
I know one was consideration,
And I think it was who it was prepared by.
That's it.
I think the other one was, you know, I'm not saying an attorney has to prepare a deed, but the deed has to say instrument prepared
right.
by.
Yeah, you can prepare your own deed.
Yeah, but you have to identify that on the document.
Correct.
In some way, for some reason, I want to think that he actually corrected those.
He may have.
I would want to think he did, but he still, when he brought it down, would not let us record it.
Yeah.
He says he does not want it on record.
And that's his
what
right.
happened last year.
Yeah.
He's
I
saying
mean,
he
yeah.
doesn't want to record the deed.
Correct.
Is he concerned about some other obligations he has, or we don't understand what the...
I have no
No
idea.
idea.
Now, Ms. Phillips and I did talk a little bit, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is, you know, a taxpayer, if it is a valid deed, can bring in a valid deed and you can change the records based on that, even though it's not recorded.
Correct.
So if he has a valid deed, he can produce that deed at the assessor's office. She can change the records, which will feed your property tax
I was going to
files.
say, we have to go by what
Yeah,
Helen
which
enters.
feeds your information. You
Right.
get your information from the property tax
Correct.
books.
That's just
From
very
Helen.
dangerous in doing that. you know.
Yes.
But there's nothing on record to show that he owns it.
Well, Sheila,
understand that.
how does that word, that correct wording for that?
11A19 states payment of taxes by co-owner or other interested party in a lien, and 11A110 a tract assessment of others.
You want to see?
Thank you.
So let me ask you, you're saying that he could bring the deed to your office. You could change it in your office, which would change it in the tax office, and then the tax
It
bill
would
would
change
go
on
to
the land
him.
book. It would change on the land book then.
Okay. Now, he-
Just like we had a court case here last year, same situation had happened. I mean, that's not a very good practice and that's not happened very often, but nothing says that you have to record your deed. But you
Okay.
have to bring it to the assessor's office and make sure that you are properly assessed.
Okay, so he says, I have to no avail since taking my deed to the assessor's office to try and change the tax. It's not a true statement.
I don't.
Sheila has a copy of that deed.
Okay. So he's, but all he'd
Copy of
have,
his deed?
an option would be bring it to your office and get it changed to his name and address. He's saying he's done that to no avail. And you're saying that's not the case,
He's never brought a deed to me.
to your office.
To our knowledge, we are unaware of that situation.
He brought a copy of the deed
Yeah.
to our office.
We saw it. We actually have a
I
copy.
made a copy of it. Well, actually, I don't think it was him that brought it in, I think it was his wife. But it doesn't have the consideration on it, and it doesn't have, it's the one that was presented, I guess, to you all, and it doesn't say who the preparer was.
Possibly, you could, we're getting an indication that there's not enough audio from your position. Would it be possible for you to take the podium, Sheila? Thank you.
We do have a copy of a deed that his wife, I believe, was the one that brought it to our office. I made a
May
copy
want
of
to pull the
it.
mic down.
Mic down.
You're not quite as tall as Virgil.
You
that
got more
better?
hair, but you're shorter.
Is that better? Can you hear now? Okay. I believe it was his wife that brought a copy of this brought the deed to our office. We made a copy of it, and it was the same one that was presented to the commission, which does not have the consideration on it, nor does it say who it was prepared by. So I guess it's been deemed that that's the problem with the deed of why
Yeah,
it's
that would not qualify as a valid deed. It's a document, but,
Right.
you know, I can
And
type
he did
up.
bring that, or
Yeah.
she brought it to our office, but it does not include those things, which I guess was determined last year that it needed to include. And I do have a copy here.
Not just last year, this has been going on for several years.
According to, I got a copy of Mrs. Heater's appraisal. It looks like the deed was made in '03. Is that the date on the deed?
I think it was 04 on the back page, and it indicates, there's the signature.
What date is
Sign date?
She doesn't have a date on her signature, I don't believe.
On the front of the deed or sign date.
They certified.
On the appraisement, it says, this deed conveyed by dated May 31st, '03, but it was never recorded.
So according to the state code, where it says that payment of taxes by co-owner or interested party, can he come into your office and pay taxes on this property?
Our position has been no.
But I thought this law says he could.
But how, the deed does not show that he is a co-owner.
But has he paid taxes on this property before?
Yes, he has. But the taxes continue to be sent to Mr. Heater, and they're in Mr. Heater's name. Yeah, I think that, well, and I've talked to him on numerous occasions about it. It's a very simple fix. I don't know why he doesn't want to fix it.
Okay, well, I guess, you know, we can talk about this forever, but the bottom line is, under the provision of Tax Code 11-31, this is what he says, I am filing an objection requesting in writing that you state your reason for refusing to accept my deed of trust on record. Now that's to who, Debbie?
This letter is addressed to Ms. Phillips.
Okay, but, okay, then he's saying that Helen is refusing to accept his deed of trust on record. Is that what he's saying? Huh?
And
Okay, okay.
and to our knowledge, he's never presented.
My deed and the release of trust as ownership, and refuse to place taxes in my name, or refuse to use my address, and refuse to allow me, the owner of said property, to pay my taxes. In the event that this situation is not rectified immediately, I am requesting under Property Tax Code 11-31 that the assessor shall certify this question in writing to the State Tax Commissioner for a ruling in this matter. So it's pretty simple. If this is addressed then to the assessor, then the assessor needs to draft a letter responding to his complaint, and I guess send it to the State Tax Department for ruling from them. And that's the end of it. And whatever they say is the final ruling. Is that correct? So that's simple. So just draft a letter in response to his request. Send it. In the event the situation is not rectified immediately, I am requesting under Property Tax Division Code blah, 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 that the assessor shall certify this question in writing to the Tax Commissioner for a ruling in the matter.
When he
So
talked,
I send him a letter telling him what he needs to do in order to accomplish what he wants to, and then send that to the State Tax Department and let them roll on it, whether you're right or he's right. Pretty simple, isn't it?
Chris Pinkerman from the State Tax Department talked to him on Tuesday, I think it was. And so she gave him the same advice, that he either needed to take the deed to the county clerk's office and record it, or bring the deed to me, and if it's valid, it's gotta be valid, then, you know, the assessor can change the tax records.
Did she confirm that opinion that she'd given to Mr. Rose, I presume, in writing to some?
No, she did that by phone, and she said he seemed very pleased and thought that he was gonna do that.
Could I request, or commission request, that possibly recontact her reduce her opinion in writing and send a copy to Mr. Rose and a copy to your office, so we have a record, a physical record that shows the communication did occur.
Right.
Well, I don't know that possibly, instead of just getting she's just an employee
Right.
for the state tax department, then we just might as well get a ruling from the tax
Because
commission.
I think what I see here is he's saying certain things that
Yeah.
you're saying did not occur. There's no written record on either side. Well, he's writing it, but there's nothing beyond his written concern that establishes really what the history is. And it might be better for all concerned if we document it somehow, so that if this matter does go beyond the county commission level, at least there's a written history as to what's
So
happened.
I'd agree. This last paragraph here, that's what we need to do. State your reason for refusing to accept my deed of trust on the record. And my deed and the release of trust as ownership, and refuse to place taxes in my name, refuse to use my address, and refuse to allow me, the owner of said property, to pay tax. Just send him a letter explaining why that is, and then I would send a copy of that to the state tax department and ask them for a ruling and send it in writing back. We've got it in writing.
But the two things he needs
Story.
is consideration and also the deed prepared by
Whatever the reasons
who.
are that you refuse to put, since it's addressed to you, I wouldn't even worry about the sheriff and the county clerk, since it's addressed to the assessor.
It has to be an original when he records it.
Right. So just state that to him, what he needs to do. It's in writing. That's why that you can't do what he wants you to do, because he hasn't met certain criteria. And send a copy to the state tax department, ask them to send a written ruling. There it is. If it ever comes up again, there it is.
I think that was one of the issues from last time. I think it was a copy. I don't know if it was an original deed. And at this point, you know, of course, the estate, a representative from the estate would have to
Right.
sign the deed.
So that should solve the problem on our end. If he knows exactly what he has to do, and if he chooses to do that, then it'll be set in his name. If not, it'll continue, I guess, as it is. Okay. Anything else on this issue? We certainly appreciate you all coming to our court today, and we hope we resolve this in a timely and a very expeditious manner. Thank you very much.